Namaskar, I'm Ashok Vyas, and today I'm delighted to be joined by Major General Yash Morji. And Namaskar, Jai Hind, welcome.
Thank you, Ashokji. Jai Hind, and what a pleasure to speak to you and to your audience in America.
And while on ITV Goal in Insight tonight with Ashok Vyas, we discuss about different subjects, but what is catching attention for right and wrong reasons is the new scheme, which is Agnipath Scheme. And we will try to understand why so much fire. And before I open the floor for you to share your views, I will also take the liberty to connect our viewers with the statement about the scheme which we got from Admiral R. Hari Kumar, who said, I didn't anticipate any protest like this. We worked on the Agnipath scheme for almost a year and a half. It is single biggest human resource management transformation in Indian military. And as per him, protests are happening due to misinformation and misunderstanding of the scheme. So, two prong question for you. One, what is this scheme as per your understanding, and why misunderstanding?
See, Ashok, firstly, we didn't recruit anyone for last 2 years plus. Everything else was going on in India. We had major elections take place in big states went to elections. And then we had Kumbh Melas. We had recruitment in the other paramilitary forces, state police, officers' academies. All recruitment was going on. It is only the recruitment was stopped due to COVID initially when the lockdown was there in the Army, Navy, and Air Force. And there were children who were at some stage. Somebody had just the final interview left, somebody had just a common entrance exam left, somebody had just the medical left. So there were thousands of children who had gone through this process, based on Government of India notification. And government, for your information, the army, when I say army, I mean three services, recruit anything between 60 to 65,000 young boys every year. So last 2 years, and plus whatever time we are going to be spending in this year, by the time the first guy gets recruited, about 3 years almost, about 1,30,000, 40,000, 50,000 jobs have gone, evaporated in one stroke. So that is a massive thing. And ये समझने की जरूरत है अशोक जी, ये सब बच्चे गांव देहात के हैं. These are we draw our soldiers from the rural India. एंड रूरल इंडिया का डिस्ट्रेस आपको पता होगा, नहीं तो आपके जो सुन रहे हैं उनको पता होगा. देयर इज ह्यूज अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट, देयर इज आई शुड से ह्यूज इन्फ्लेशन. लैंड होल्डिंग अब रही नहीं है. जमीनें कहाँ हैं? जमीन 20 साल, 25 साल, 30 साल पहले फिर भी कोई बच्चा फौजी बनता है जिसके पास 2, 4, 5, 10 एकड़ जमीन है. अभी देयर आर नो लैंड. सो दीज यंग बॉयज have to put in hard work for 1 year, 1.5 years, 2 years to get recruited in the army. And army में recruit होना is a matter of pride. It gives you social security. It raises your financial and societal respect of you, your family. घर पक्का घर बन जाता है, बहनों की शादी हो जाती है, लड़कों की शादी इस बेस पे होती है कि आप फौज में भर्ती हो गए. तो इसका बहुत जबरदस्त इम्पैक्ट है गांव और देहात में. तो पहली बात आपने ना वो किया नहीं, उनको एक झटके में बोल दिया. दे केप्ट वेटिंग. At least last 1 year there has been no COVID, but they kept waiting. They were not recruited, and now suddenly on 14th June, this scheme has been announced without any wide consultation across India. No debate, nothing. It was nobody knew. People knew hush hush that something is coming, but something like that for 4 years only you
Okay.
will hire.
Yeah. So I am also happy that we are joined by Dr. Dheeraj Kaul, who is also paying attention on this issue closely. Welcome, Doctor.
Major Saab, good morning. I mean, good evening.
Hi,
Thank you
Dheeraj.
so
Good
much
to
for
again
such
be
a
on the same
pleasure
panel
that
with you.
you gave your time. We are very honored. Thank you so much.
So, Major Saab, from your perspective, we got to learn a little bit about the importance of army recruitment. Now, a little bit about the Agnipath scheme as it stands, and whatever Dr. Dheeraj has learned as an outsider who doesn't have inner viewpoint of the army. And before I request him to share his take on how he feels what it is, I will also mention that whatever good or bad, whichever way you look at it, but what is happening is not just shocking, it is one would say that it should never happen in a democracy like India. And with your permission, if I say that whether it is beneficial for a youth in village or not, whether it is up to his expectation or not, the kind of collective action in several states leading to burning of trains should not happen, and that is another cause of concern. And should this kind of violent reaction be a way to protest is also another question. But coming back to it and connecting with the statement, not just of the Admiral Hari Kumarji, who feels that this is the single biggest human sort of transformation. So, what was the word used was human resource management transformation. Uh, Dheeraj, in your view, as I read, and Major General Sahab is very correct in saying that what they were expecting, it is different from that. But if you look at it from a macro point of view, from the point of view of the army leadership, as well as we are getting a lot of favorable statement from the Home Minister about the scheme. What do you think? Uh, I have taken long time, but just 2-3 points, and then we'll kind of counter check with Major Sahab. Yeah.
Yeah, Namaskar. Thank you for having me on the show, and it's an honor to be with General Saab. I think there are pros and cons. The big pros which I'm seeing is infusing discipline in a 17-year-old for 4 years, making him more patriotic. And then, honestly speaking, even in US, we see people who graduate, who do the short service, and then they come out. Even med schools or colleges like to accept them. They have a special scholarship and absorption ratio. So I think definitely improvement of discipline of those folks would be there. Another thing is army, as most of the journals are talking about, needs to be a little younger. Average mean age is 32. Probably becoming younger helps to human physiology to work on high altitudes. And General Saab probably knows way more than I do on that field. But definitely the way the scheme was implemented, that has caused some ruckus, because apparently it was not very well discussed with the opposition in the parliament. The other thing is, these guys, I still don't understand one question, and maybe Journal Sahab can answer it. Why does it take 3 years for a 17-year-old to prepare to get into a soldier? Is there some kind of racket of coaching institutions going on? Because this is not a UPSC exam. So what is that issue? That's issue number one. Issue number two, I believe when they come out and when they're serving the army, would they have that motivation to risk their life for the nation when 75% of them feel that there is no, they may not be there? So human psychology wise, as a physician, it definitely will play some kind of effect on their performance, even in a negative way. And on the other hand, it will increase competition between those 100 folks that I have to be in the top 25. So what determines that I think time will show. But another thing which I wanted to understand is the discipline which the army has in the orders. For an officer to make these people work harder, it will be a bigger challenge to work with them than motivated person for 50 years.
Doctor, let's hear from Major Sahab.
Yeah, I'll answer all. Some of these issues are being raised here. Firstly, discipline. Aren't these boys who are already coming normal recruitment? They are not disciplined. What are we? This is a fig leaf. Suddenly, these people will be more disciplined than that normal recruits. In fact, it'll be opposite. These people who know they're here for 4 years, they'll say, "Okay, thank you very much. I'm here for 4 years. You can't throw me out, and you can't keep me if I'm not." Because there's a rat race. 100 में से only 25 will be retained. वो भी everybody, so that is gone. Discipline goes. Patriotic, this is laughable. Everybody is patriotic who joins the forces, and every Indian is patriotic. I never want to question and give a label that this person is more patriotic, army is more patriotic, police is less patriotic, or an engineer is less patriotic. But no, everybody is equally patriotic. Anybody who decides to join the forces, there is a jazba, there is a junoon jo hum kehte hain. So this is also good. Age of soldiers has never been a factor in Indian army. We have a very young army actually. Okay, whenever there has been a factor, it is the age of the officers. So after 99 Kargil war, we brought the age down of the commanding officers. So earlier when I became a commanding officer, I was 42 years old. Now commanding officers are 34 years old, 35 years old. So we did that. But age of soldier I always say is as fit as the officer who leads them.
Correct.
So this is also The main reason for this massive human, transformation in human resource management that people are saying is because of our revenue expenditure on pay and pensions. On pensions, today we start recruiting them, the effect will be after 15 years. So immediately there's no effect because the people who are serving will continue to get their pension whenever they retire. So no effect. Pay, yes, there is some effect because you'll be leaving them out, but you will, what you will add is 4 years of insecurity, then no marriage, no second life. Now they are all announcing we will give you, but all these people will not be there when these guys come out. And these schemes have been announced many times. Why haven't they done this with the ex-servicemen earlier? You please check the Indian Express today. It is dismal, the figure, the number of retirees taken by corporate or PSUs or paramilitary. Just 1%, 1.5%.
Yeah.
So this also, who will believe you? Who will believe if you say कि 4 साल बाद तेरे को मैं नौकरी दूंगा? And no skills. Last is skills. Dheeraj, these are all rural youth. Their education levels, we know, they're just about 12th pass or 10th pass. You may give them a degree. You give them a PhD degree. But who will take you? Who will take you?
Okay, so allow me to interrupt you. So this is a skepticism when I say, and that could work both ways. If you don't trust that they are going to be given preferential treatment in being recruited, I mean, nobody can make you believe it.
Yeah.
But then when you mention about not having any skill, but they'll be trained, and when they are working,
so they'll be trained to hold weapon, they'll be trained marching, they'll be trained army, because we have to use them. We are not good.
No. Major Saab, if as a layman, I think they will have better discipline, and we see many army officers active even in New York. I mean, those who came from Indian Army, they are active in different fields that includes business or entrepreneurship or management, etc. And so we will probably leave that part, and I'll come to another side which you also alluded to, and that relates to the economic side of it. And as a patriotic person, emotionally inclined, one would not like to compare that because of the need of economy, they are taking away something from me. So that gives a bad optics. But then if you look at it pragmatically, and if you feel that it is going to release crores of resources without any harm, in fact, you will have more and more people coming and joining army. And some people are comparing it with what is the focus of Israel, and as saying that it will be good for overall India's defense preparedness. And allow me also to bring the reference of Army Chief General Manoj Pandey ji. So this scheme didn't come from a political side. Uh, I'll bring your tweet, Major General Yash, when you said we should avoid jingoism when we deal with military. Everybody is patriotic, so that is taken. But when you say jingoism, it goes slightly towards the political approach. Do you see what I'm saying? Because this is a management oriented scheme suggested by the army, and the question of patriotism and politics, your response.
Ashokji, I will not like to comment who initiated this scheme or who. Naturally, it has political backing. It's a government which. But to bring such a transformation overnight, overlooking those children who had already applied. Imagine doing it with any other service. Any other. Why didn't we try it with the paramilitary forces, the police forces, or central government employees? Lakhs of other, recruitment takes place in all departments, massive departments, railways and all. Why the military, which is supposed to be, one organization which has stood the test of time, be tempered with like this? That is a question. And bad timing and bad communication. If you're not able to convince, I wish we had a 6 months debate on this, and the old recruitment process had started. Those boys would have joined, and we would have said this scheme will launch on 1st January. Till 1st January, we will finish the backlog. All those who are in the process, and we will debate this. We have an amazing democracy in India. We have a parliamentary committee on defense which doesn't come on camera. And these are people, educated people who understand defense matters from all political parties, all parts of India. And we could have a veterans committee to discuss this. Let's have some JCOs and ORs, gaon ke, unko bhi liao na. Let them, what is impact on them? We are all speaking who have no impact. Is no impact on officer cadre. is no impact on senior leadership. The people who are taking decision, none of them understand the impact on the socio-economic fiber of our village life. वो मैं बार बार मैं I'm not denying that it is a transformational reform, but can we lessen the pain by doing it in stages? Instead of doing it in one go, can we say 5,000 this year? And please don't compare Israel. I really, you are comparing Israel with India, with a land border of 8,000 kilometers, two inimical enemies, and their officers and soldiers come from same families. Here, officers come from English medium schools or maybe military schools, high school. Jawans come from villages, the dirt side, the mud and dirt and villages of India. तो there is पता नहीं कहाँ से आप इजराइल का लोग ना मेरे को it's going on in our this thing also. See, so they call it tour of duty. US guy goes to Afghanistan, tour of duty. In our case, tour of duty is 24/7 since 1947. We are on the borders with Pakistan. And now with China, we have an issue. So have we done a pragmatic operational assessment of India's security before we brought this? No. So I'm only trying to कि इसको समझो इसमें इसीलिए मैंने zingoism word use किया कि by naming them something else doesn't make them more some out of the वो नहीं है. It is a normal. These are same pool which will come. Same boys will vie for this, not something different. Suddenly you have increased the pool size, or you'll get engineering or PhD guys to come now wearing uniform like Israelis. No, it is India. India has its own issues.
So now, Dr. Dheeraj, what is shocking for us sitting away from India is the constant burning of trains. Now, in democracy, ideally we say that you have right to protest, but people have seen it again and again unless the mob draws its attention through some means which are not normal, civilized ways of protesting. Probably media would not run after them. Probably we won't have these many debates. And yet there is another parallel thought process which says that having this kind of synchronized and collective protest and burning of trains, as well as government property being destroyed and even stone pelting on sometimes school buses, etc., there might be some other forces at play behind all this. Again, we don't know, but your major concern, how it is going to be resolved the way, if, as Major Saab said, and we hear it again and again, that there is lack of information or clear information or misunderstanding. But what Major General feel, it is not misunderstanding, it is the approach itself that needs to be modified. And allow me to also add that they started listing, and Army Chief General Manoj Pandey ji said that training of first Agniveers will begin in December 2022, but they have also granted one-time waiver, increasing the entry age of recruitments to 23 years for the recruitment cycle of 2022. So do you think it is going to have some sort of a favorable impression about the Agnipath scheme among those who are concerned?
Allow me 2 minutes. So I think there are 4 points. Number one point, I totally agree with General Saab. It should have been come in a phased pattern, and more people should have taken in confidence. Parliamentary Committee for Defense should have been there, and definitely veterans. And when I say veteran, I don't mean only officers, soldiers, like Colonel General Saab knows, because these are the soldiers which is the basic pillars of the Indian Army. Because if a soldier is active, smart, intelligent, ready to work hard, everybody's patriotic, but देश पे जान लगाने के लिए तैयार है, तो army is very strong. Indian Army का beauty है वो. I myself was planning to take ND, unfortunately I had to move here, so I feel very strong for it. But one more point I have to say, because I do understand macroeconomics. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Macroeconomics. So let's zoom out. India's is the fastest growing economy right now in the global recession times. 3.5 trillion is the goal for this year. 2.89 trillion as of now. $71 billion is the defense budget. Out of the defense budget, bulk of it goes to the army. I think 51% if you take out Navy, DRDO and other issues. And from that 70 billion, I think a bulk goes to the salaries and pensions. From the rest of that, you have to buy equipment, modernize. See, world is changed into like world 2.0. So we need drones, we need laser warfare, we need high-tech technologies. For this, there are two options. Either you increase the budget or you ration the budget. So I think the army has gone towards the way of rationing the budget. And let me explain you in 30 seconds why. Because the world is going through global recession. India's economy is also not very vibrant right now. As you can see, they are liquidating some of the national assets to gain the financial strength to run socio-economical policies. For example, giving ration to 80 crore people, making houses. It has to come from somewhere. Although the taxable income has slightly grown, but we have a bulk of people which evade tax. There are multi-billionaires sitting in India. They need to come and donate to Indian Defense Forces, give it to the fund so that the army can have money. That would be a better way than rationing it like crazy. But having said that, I do understand one point I want to make for sure. People who have been waiting for 2 to 3 years have paid money like anything to these, somebody has to look into this educational institution, because I am into education. This is not a way to train people for 3 years to get into a soldier rank. I kind of don't want to believe that.
So I think that's a good point, but that's a different point.
Me
So
30 seconds.
yeah.
Just want to finish this one point. Those people, 1 lakh plus people who have been waiting for 2 to 3 years, I really hope and I believe that they should be absorbed in the army, because they are the ones on the street. And one last thing, yesterday there were 2 points which I love. The government has said that people who come into these 4 years in 10th grade, they will give them 12th pass certificate. So you are really studying, you are gaining knowledge, skills, and then you can even go to college if you feel like. But having said that, we really have to understand where these people will be absorbed, because my concern is a person trained in weaponry going into an environment of unemployment, inflation skyrocketed. I understand morals, but at some level, it can strain the security of the nation. I don't want to go further. I think Journal can talk more on that.
So, General Saab, I would like to add the overall big picture on this. We may see differently, we may agree or disagree, but when you have an elected government in place which is working in coordination with the armed forces, and if they come up with any plan, any scheme, whether it fits into your rhythm of expectation or not, if you keep on pushing and forcing them to change, like we have seen recently, the farmers' agitation led to repealing of those laws, etc. If this continues, will it be good for India as far as its international image, as well as for its development oriented move with forward look?
See, Ashok ji, first of all, I'll talk about the violence. Nobody supports violence. Okay? We are really pained, really pained. In fact, I don't even, I'm only in touch with these children on social media. They follow me, they keep messaging me, and they like, okay, there is a general who understands the rural area. So I've been first that day, even when first violence I heard, I took out a video. Please don't do this. Don't take law in your hands. This is really, strange. Then somebody spoke of coaching. See, coaching is it's a society driven thing. Why do we people study for civil services for 3-4 years? Rajendra Nagar, Mukherjee Nagar, it's $1 billion industry. Correct. For UPSC to become IIT. Same is for IIT JEE, for medical. So it has started in about 10-15 years back. The recruitment has become so pricey. The job is so attractive to be a soldier in the army that these are mushroomed, and they are in rural area. And not 3 years, but 1 to 2 years, certainly investment poor families are doing, because you're running a race in which thousands of them are running. So you have to be in that, in that packet really ahead. Then there is stringent medical, very, very stringent medical. Then there is a written exam. So it's a mixture of written exam, all this, then you go through, and then finally you see the day when you will go to a recruiting center to a sepoy, to be a soldier. So these things they have come up because of the need of the society. And also I have now coming to the issue of these protests and all. See, in India, in last 40 years, 45 years, our democracy has matured. We have seen minority governments also run this nation. So participative democracy, consultancy, let have debate. What is the hurry? Why 14 June, you tell me? What is the hurry 2.5 years? And why didn't we tell these children, ek saal pehle bhi tumhari bharti nahi hogi, you now do whatever you want to do. So till 13th, 14th morning, they were hoping we will get a call join. We will get a call join. Imagine that children waiting only to enter. They have done everything. And then you say, now, no. Now it will be this. So, And understanding the socio-economic, what I mentioned earlier, of the village is very important. These are poor families. One job in the government can uplift a family. Where does this is also nation building? Isn't this nation building?
So there are multiple questions, and we only have few minutes left. So what we will do is, considering the situation where, as per the decision of Army Chief and Air Force Chief, Air Chief Marshal V.R. Chaudhary, while they have agreed to increase the entry age for one time, but they are
See,
also going ahead with
Ashokji,
the plan. Ji.
sweeteners are being added every day. What
Correct.
does it show? You tell me. You're a journalist or a Dr. Dheeraj. If you every day keep making changes, what does it mean?
Not well thought of.
What does it mean? It is happening 2-3 times a day now. Pele age, then increasing the gratuity, then increasing the something, then giving, okay, if you die in battle, we'll give you this much. What does it mean? You're saying you worked on it for 1.5 years.
So, our Major General Sahab, my question, I'm just referring to it, and I agree what you are saying, but the situation is that is happening, which no one would like to happen, which is this youth force of India is in conflict with the major armed forces, and we, not here but in India also, the common man is the sufferer,
Yes, exactly.
and of course economy is also suffering. So
Yeah.
what next if the army chief is not going to dismantle this scheme? And again, I would stand with them if they do that. So what next? What do you see, Dheeraj? Very briefly, 1 minute.
I think first of all, there is no role for violence. Secondly, they're destroying public property. India, every country is in strain. This is the worst thing you can do. And army has already said anybody against whom an FIR is there, they will not be eligible. But I would request them to look into FIR not under people who were peacefully protesting, because that's a democratic right. So people who were peacefully protested should not be officially, taken out from the
So,
recruitment.
Major Generals have just 1 minute I have, and another situation which has cropped up is they are saying those who have been active participant in the protest will not be considered. So this
Yeah,
is
yeah,
going
that
to
is right.
aggravate.
No, no. Anybody who takes part in criminal activity, how can you take him in the forces? No way. That is a deterrence. No, no. And nobody likes violence. Probably these are people who have no chance of getting recruited. They are overage, or who they are, criminals, or I don't know who they are. But the issue is that nobody likes violence, and especially youth coming on the streets. My suggestion in last 30 seconds is put it on a freeze, have a debate, restart the old recruitment, so you assuage feelings. In a democracy, you got to understand what are the people. It's not going to be some billions of rupees that you're going to spend on these people. Maybe few thousand if you take now. Those were in the process, 15, 20, 30,000, not more than that.
So
And
now,
you
yeah.
put
So
it on a
now,
freeze for
yeah.
6 months and have a debate on it and refine the scheme. If it's so brilliant, I'm sure people will buy it.
So the question remains, why lack of information or clarity about the concept, and why lack of enough discussion and debate? That question again comes. But to move forward with peace and harmony, whatever needs to be taken care of from each side, including, as Major General Yash said, about the youth. And indeed, government is flexible, but sometimes flexibility comes across as giving confused signals. So let us hope things get resolved. And looking at the time constraint, I would profusely
Thank
thank
you.
Major General Yash
Thank
for
you.
joining us.
And Jai Hind to all your
Jai Hind.
listeners. And what a pleasure to speak to you, Ashok Vyasji, and of course, Dr. Dheeraj. It's
Thank
such an honor always to, be on a panel with you, and we'll do many more such things in future.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Such an honor. Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you. Namaskar.
We appreciate your being available for us, sir. Thank you
Yes.
very much.
Thank you.
And Bharat Mata ki jai ke saath mein
Bharat
we
Mata ki
conclude.
Jai.
Bharat
Jai
Mata
Hind.
ki
Jai Hind.
Jai Hind.
Jai Hind.
This is Ashok Vyas thanking all of you. And indeed, with Major General thanking Dr. Dheeraj Kaul. Lots of good wishes. Namaste.